And of course, the big national story we're watching this morning is about former President Donald Trump. He's facing an historic federal indictment for mishandling classified documents.
So we're following this morning, and we have Rob Hughes joining us here in the studio to explain exactly what we know about the charges that Trump is facing.
Yeah, and it's important to make the distinctions between the charges that he's facing, right? Because Trump does have a number of legal issues right now, guys. It's unprecedented, actually, but this is the second indictment for the former president, and the first time a former president is facing criminal charges by the government he once led. Trump posted on his social media platform, Truth Social, that the Justice Department informed him he was indicted because of the documents found in his Mar-a-Lago estate. 3 people familiar with the case say Trump faces 7 charges related to keeping national defense information, conspiracy, and obstruction. Trump is maintaining he's innocent and that the investigation is a hoax.
So what will we look to see if there's any there? If they file motions in court and if a judge grants those motions. But short of that, it's very different.
Trump says he's been called to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday, something his lawyers say will happen.
There's not going to be an arrest. This is coming in on a summons. That was appropriate. This is not somebody who's going to flee. This is not somebody that poses a danger to the community, which are the factors that you would normally consider when you're talking about release.
And many experts are saying the indictment could lead to severe legal consequences if Trump is convicted. But it's not the only legal trouble he's facing right now, including possible charges here in Georgia that we've been following for years now, guys.
I was going to say, yeah, a long time.
A long while, yes.
Why don't we continue our team coverage on this, Rob? Thank you. Because, yeah, here in Georgia, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office could announce this summer whether Trump will face charges for 2020 election interference.
Megan Packer continues our team coverage now to break down how all of this is happening as the former president is set to be in Georgia this weekend, Megan.
Right, Gravir and John, he was already scheduled to be in Columbus for the GOP state convention. He is headlining that event tomorrow, so we will wait and see how he addresses this indictment, if he addresses it. But the action is already happening there in Columbus. Law enforcement and businesses, you can imagine, are preparing for the crowds. The convention there kicks off today. A lot of eyes on that in the political world. The former president will be there tomorrow, putting Georgia once again in the political spotlight. Other speakers there include former Senator Kelly Loeffler, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Governor Kemp will not be there, nor will Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. They are both skipping this event. One UGA political science professor says Donald Trump choosing to come to Georgia for this GOP convention shows he is hoping and trying to win over voters after 2020.
In reality, Georgia is an anti-Trump state. Trump does less well here than probably most any other state that Republicans have a shot at winning.
Professor Charles Bullock there says as we get closer to 2024, Georgia may very well be and play a significant role in yet again choosing the country's next president. Gravir.